Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakbadash. I want to give double honors to the elders and apostles at Great Millstone, time of the truth rule well. And I'll say Shalom to Akman out there pursuing this truth diligently. Coming at you once again with another lesson. Unfortunately, I don't have too much time, before to get this out there. Unfortunately, before work, so I'm gonna try to see how much of it I can get through. Lord willing, we can get through a decent amount of it. So this one's titled, Russia has officially declared the U.S. as an enemy. All right, so this is fairly recent news. All right, again, Russia has officially declared the USA as an enemy. Okay, so this comes from an article, a couple of them actually. So this one's from 6 days ago. It says, Russia formally declares the U.S. as enemy. What's next? It says, experts tell TRT World Russia's game plan is to keep nudging NATO's European states into believing that Washington is using them as mere tools of expansion rather than true allies. Bear with me while I grab a drink. So it says, Russia's game plan is to keep nudging NATO's European states. So basically, Russia's plan is to keep telling NATO that, and let me rephrase this and translate this because they're using deceptive language. Let's read it again as it says. It says, experts tell TRT World Russia's game plan is to keep nudging NATO's European states into believing that Washington is using them as mere tools of expansion rather than true allies. Let's translate that without the bullshit. Russia's game plan is to keep telling NATO states that the United States is just using them. They're not really true allies. They're just using them. That's some serious shit. All right, that's some serious shit. So it says, after months of rising tensions over Ukraine between Russia and the United States, bilateral relations have hit a new low as Kremlin spokesperson defined the U.S. an enemy. Says press secretary to Russian President Vladimir Putin, Dmitry Peskov, reportedly said, we are now an enemy country for them, just as they are for us, during a press conference briefing on Tuesday. It says the Kremlin had previously referred to the U.S. and Western nations supporting Ukraine as unfriendly states or opponents due to high tensions over Ukraine's use of American-supplied weapons on Russian territory. See, again, in this, this is all just, the Lord's plan to get, this deliverance rolled out, right? Because for him to come back, there has to be a lot of things that come into play, and one of those is World War III, okay? And it's only through Yahweh Shai Shai. Because looking at this, you would just look at the United States and say, man, these people got to be complete fucking retards to continue on with this, right? The Russia kept saying, hey, stop giving them weapons, stop giving them weapons. Hey, if you give them weapons, we're going to bomb you. Stop doing it. Our tensions are going to be bad. Stop doing it. It's going to cause World War III. Stop it. Do you want a nuclear war? Stop giving them weapons. Stop it. Stop it. Stop giving them weapons. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Right? And the United States kept on, they're just bluffing. 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 Right? And now things are starting to heat up because now the United States is officially declared as an enemy state. The United States has made revisions to the automatic enrollment of military service. Right? It used to be a thing that you had to, sign up to do. Now it's going to be automated. All right, you don't have a choice. All right, not that you ever technically did. You could go to jail, but you never had a choice. Right? And I think it's for anybody up to the age 26, something like that. So, hey, but us in this truth, Lord willing, we're not going to be over there anyway. Okay? And a lot of us are over 26 anyway, but those brothers that are under 26, they're still going to be fine too through Yahweh Shai Shai, Lord willing. All right? So if they're of the elect, at least, right? It says, where else do we want to go here? It says, however, according to Agentstvo, or however the fuck you pronounce that, Agent STVO, an independent Russian investigative site, this is the first time they have publicly labeled the U.S. as an enemy state. Speaking to TRT Worlds, expertly said there's actually nothing new here because publicly stated or not, the United States has long been considered by Russia as its enemy. Well, I mean, not to a full extent. That's not true because Russian tensions when Trump was in office were actually, pretty decent. All right, not that I care for Trump. He's a fucking dumbass just like everybody else. But that's showing you that that's a lie because it says the United States relationships with Russia were at the highest peak when Trump was in office. What the fuck are you guys talking about? So that's a lie. And they're trying to downplay it. Okay, they're trying to make it seem, let's look up the word downplay. Look up that word, downplay.
Downplay.
Make something appear less important than it really is. So that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to make it seem like, it's nothing. It's nothing really, It says the ultimate goal is to sow division within the NATO alliance, pulling its members away from each other, particularly from the United States, he added. Now, this is especially important because there's a scripture. This isn't the one, I think. This is a different one. Yeah, it's This is Revelation 17 and 16. And this is why this article is especially important when you weigh it through, the Spirit. All right, because we have this scripture, Revelation 17 and 16, that says, "And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast." Now, let's stop for a minute. And the 10 horns. Okay, so let's go and get right here. That's not it. Here it is. So, and you can see that this isn't something that was just recently created. You can go and look at this. This is just when I downloaded it. All right, this was just when I downloaded it. But this picture's been around for a very long time. But I have had it downloaded since November 8th of 2021, right? November 8th of 2021. So you can see that, November 8th of 2021. So it's not something I just put together to prove this point, right? So, and the 10 horns, let me see if I can get them on both the screen. All right, we'll just put it over here. It says, "And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon, the beast," right? 10 horns. The beast with 7 heads and 10 horns is NATO. All right, so you have the 10 horns, right? And then, so the 7 heads and the 10 horns. The horns, okay? The horns represent the common market, or the European Economic Community, the EU, and it's most notably referred to the NATO and the EU, right? It's this beast system, the beast. This is the beast, right? The beast, NATO, the EU, America, right? America is right at the top. So it says the 7 heads are the 7 governments or kingdoms ruled by Esau. You have Germania. Let me full screen this. So you have Germania Major. All right. You have the Romans, the French, the Spanish, Germania Minor, the British, and the Greeks. And then right up on top, you have the Great Whore, America, all right, also referred to as Babylon, New Babylon, right? So you have NATO, all right? So there you go, NATO, all right? These nations make up NATO, and there's more nations in this. Now you have Sweden, right? These nations make up NATO, which is the beast, okay? And of course, you have the 10 horns as well. So look, the 10 horns are what? All these different places. Okay, here's the 10 horns. You have Belgium, Denmark, France, Italy, Luxembourg, Netherlands, Greece, Ireland, England, and West Germany, right? And then you have other places here as well, but in the NATO with Denmark, Iceland, right? So on and so forth. But this is especially important because going back to the scripture, it says, "And the 10 horns which thou," so 10 horns is referring the beast with 7 heads and 10 horns. This beast system is referring to NATO. So this is especially concerning when you get Revelation 17 and 16, which reads, "And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore." Who's the whore? Again, America. "These shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh, and burn her with fire." Why? "For Yahweh hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree, and to give their kingdom unto the beast, until the words of Yahweh shall be fulfilled." So there you go. So there we go. And so there we go. So if you go back, all right, their ultimate goal is to sow divisions within the NATO alliance, pulling its members away from each other, and particularly the United States. So the ultimate goal is to pull those people. This shows you that everything is strictly biblical. And if you don't believe it at this point, then you're done, man. You're done. The whole point is for Russia to pull these people away, right? That's what they're trying to do right now. They're trying to pull these people away. The ultimate goal is, whether it's Russia or whoever ends up getting it done, is that the 10 horns, all right, these NATO and EU, the EU, right, these Edomite nations are ultimately going to turn against the whore. Even though they're with it, they were with the system, they're eventually going to turn against them, and they're going to do what? They're going to make her desolate, going back All right, going back, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. So make her desolate. All right, so that's what they're eventually going to do. Okay, it says Bierzka believes that Russia's aim is to intimidate European NATO members into believing that the United States is recklessly dragging them into a conflict with Russia. All right, and you see it. So that we're not going to read this whole thing, unfortunately. Like I said, I don't have time. I want to make sure I get through some scriptures, but you can go and read this. It's from TRT World. Russia formally declares the U.S. as enemy. What next? Okay. Again, you can see it down here. What sparked the enemy comment? We'll jump down there. It says, what sparked the enemy comment? It says, Peskov's enemy comments followed the allegations by former American intelligence officer Scott Ritter that he was barred from entering St. Petersburg and had his passport confiscated by border officials. It said Peskov's response to reporters emphasized that recent actions aimed at preventing Americans from engaging with Russia would only be justified if they were directly linked to Ritter's previous intelligent activities. Yada, yada, yada. So you see it. So these people, and these people aren't taking it serious. Okay? You can tell. So let's go and get Matthew 24:1. All right, through, well, that's not what I wanted. Matthew 24:1 through 8. All right, because these are the signs that Yahushua gave, all right, to his disciples. All right, and we get this all the time, and we're going to continue to get it all the time, Lord willing, that, I'm alive, well, and in this truth, and Lord willing I am, as well as you diligent brothers and sisters as well, and the elect. So Matthew 24:1 and 8, through 8, starting with verse 1, reads, and Yahushua went out and departed from the temple, and his disciples came to him for to show him the buildings of the temple. And Yahushua said unto them, see ye not all these things? Verily I say unto you, there shall not be left here one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, tell us, when shall these things be? Right? And what shall be the sign of thy coming? Right here. And of the end of the world. So they asked, 1, when shall these things be? 2, what shall the signs of your coming be? 3, or 2 really, and the end of the world. How are we going to know, when these things are, and when is the end of the world? Please let us know, Lord. That's what was being asked, right? And Yahushua responded in verse 4, says, and Yahushua answered and said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am Hamashiach, and shall deceive many. So that's another thing that's going to be on the rise. There's going to be people that are going to say, oh, I'm Yahushua, I'm Christ, I'm Jesus. All these people are going to be, saying all these things and saying that they're the anointed, that they're the chosen and savior and all that stuff. Now, we haven't seen that in a full extent. We still have some bug outs that think they are, but we haven't seen that in its full extent, okay? In verse 6, it says, and ye shall hear, and here's the point, and ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines, and pestilences, and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. So all those things are the beginning of sorrows, right? And some people have things to say about it. Bear with me while I grab a drink, and we'll get back to this. All right, so some people have a lot to say against it. They say, oh, there's been wars and rumors of war since the dawn of time. Yeah. But, in all of these 27 years that I've been around, ain't nothing been like this. Right? Ain't nothing been like this. All right. They had the stuff with, it was a little bit heated with Iran, with Iraq, when the Iraq war and the Afghanistan war and all that stuff with George W. Bush and all that stuff. It was heated then, but that was really the last time that even got mildly heated. Right? That was the last time there was really any sort of mild heat going on. And then you had all this stuff break out. The Russian-Ukraine war, which is massive. And then you have the Israel and Palestine war, which is massive. You have a lot of things going down, man. All right, and those are just the two big ones, all right? There's stuff going on in Syria. There's stuff going on in other places. And, there's talk with North Korea and China and doing stuff with Taiwan and North Korea and South Korea. There's a lot of shit going down right now that a lot of people aren't paying attention to, that is brewing. All right, and just because it ain't cooking in the pot doesn't mean it ain't about to be thrown in the pot ready to boil. All right, and that's the thing where people, they let their pride get to them. They go, oh, that's never going to happen. Yes, it will. All right. And again, down here it says, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes. And we're seeing, we've seen light scale famines. We've seen light scale pestilences. Now the whole new thing is the bird flu, right? They said there's new versions of vid coming out, right? All these different things, man. Those earthquakes in diverse places. We're seeing earthquakes more than there ever should be, right? And ultimately, verse 8, all these are the beginning of sorrow. So it's just the beginning. All right, you ain't seen nothing yet. All right, it's all prophesied throughout the Bible that these things are going to come to pass. Let me get another one. This is 2nd Esdras 15 and 14 through 19. We're actually going to hold off on that real quick and go and get this, because I wanted to show you some comments of what these people think about. This is the World News. It says, Russia declares U.S. as an enemy state for the first time amid deteriorating ties over Ukraine. Now let's see what people has to say. This person says, I'm surprised it took them so long. This person said, any American citizen in Russia needs to leave today. You got to be crazy to be in Russia as a U.S. citizen or even a permanent resident. Okay. What else? It says, today I learned we weren't enemies. Right? It said, what else? It says, bitch, we already broke up with you and when we took all your McDonald's away. This is Esau's, American Esau's prideness, their pridefulness. Oh yeah, blah, 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 blah. Right? It says, I hope the U.S. declares corporations that still operate in Russia as spies now. It says, I don't think the federal government could do that, yada, yada, yada. So all these people are like, oh, yeah, America's so strong, America, fuck, yeah. They think America's going to be able to just fuck everything up, be able to go over there and just fucking hammer it to them. And that's not the case, man. That's not the case at all. So continuing on, they think America's going to be able to, just stick it to them because America's this big bad wolf, all right, that can just fucking blow every house down. But guess what? They're gonna meet that one pig at the end where they can't do nothing, man. They can't do nothing, right? And what can I do nothing? And guess what? That pig's gonna fuck them up. All right, that pig is gonna fuck them up, and that pig just happens to be, one of these countries that's ultimately, ultimately, it's gonna be the pig's gonna be the whole NATO, because they're gonna turn against the whore, right? America. But people are so prideful. Oh, we live in an island. All right, North America is an island. It's a very fortified continent. Blah blah blah. They say all this dumb shit, right? It's a very fortified land, and we can attack them and all. We got missiles on all our borders. Blah blah blah. Yeah, right, cool. It says every sane country is their enemy. Russia's words no longer have any clout. Well, guess what? You say they no longer have any clout, and look, these aren't like getting small amounts of upvotes. 3.7 thousand people agreed with this. So, their words no longer have clout. Yeah, until they rush a fucking launch an ICBM on the fucking shores of Florida. Boom. And all of a sudden there a fucking bomb goes off in America and people, I thought we were told nothing would happen. Russia couldn't do anything. They're not strong, right? Yeah, because you've been lied to. Remember when everyone was saying, oh, Russia was going to be done with in a few weeks because Ukraine was so strong? Whatever happened to that? I have a meme on my phone and I can't remember, it says, let's see, my government told me that Russia using World War II tanks to building missiles meme. Let me see. There was a meme that I saw. It was a TikTok, or not a TikTok. It says it was a what was it? It was a Twitter post that said my government went from telling me that Russia was weak and using World War II tanks to building super weapons in a matter of hours. All right, it was a meme, and then now people are this is how Russian pro-war. Yeah, I can't find it. I think I was looking for this not too long ago, actually, as a matter of fact. And they're trying to make memes and all this stuff. Change my view. Russia cannot win the war with Ukraine at this point, and that was 2 months ago. So let's see, what else do we have? It says I don't think they will, but there's a solid possibility that they can. All right. There's a lot of people, and they're just, I think, a lot of I think. Well, guess what? I think that I don't give a shit about what you think. Okay. And, we end up accidentally, there it is. I wanted to get this one more prideful comment before we officially get out of there. So it says, bitch, we already broke up with you when we took your McDonald's away. This one said, oh no, how will America ever recover? What if Russia cuts us off from their incredibly important and vibrant economy? How will we ever survive without their assured future growth and wise investments? It says, oh, my favorite cam girls, no, right? Well, they don't realize how would you ever survive when you get fucking nuked, right? This person said, wow, they won't let us genocide Ukraine, Putin. It says, we declare that they can eat a bag of dicks, all right? You see all these different things. And it says, does this mean the people in the U.S. government taking Russian money are officially aiding an enemy of the United States? All right, this people says they hate us because they ain't us. You see a lot of prideful comments, all right? You see a lot of prideful comments. And this whole page just froze. Come on now. That's a new one. I gotta go see what that is. I'll let this load. This is 2 months ago. Never mind. Anyway, this won't load. Here it is. So it says, where was it? There's a comment here. Someone said they didn't like where this was going. Here it is. This person said, I honestly don't like the way this is all playing out. This is Russian propaganda messaging made to influence you, to scare you. Don't fall for their constant stream of nonsense. Putin is getting provoked by weakness. Don't be weak. The more appealing the West appears, the more saber-rattling it will provoke in the long term. Europe and the U.S. tried to appease Putin in the past when he invaded Crimea and eastern Ukraine, when he got rid of his opponents in Europe, when he invaded Georgia, Chechnya, etc. I don't know if I pronounced that right, but who cares? It says when he decided to use hybrid warfare against Europe and so on to the only blah, 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 blah. It says don't be a pushover. And this person, what did people say? It says, are you sure? The president of the United States just allowed our weaponry to be used on Russian territory. This person said, I think it's important to note the U.S. was not the only country to allow this recently. I think there were like 4 or 5 other countries that gave the go-ahead. So there you go. So most people are, this one, Russia can declare my balls in Putin's mouth. It says, when you start pulling your kids from our schools, I'll take it a bit more seriously. Right? So people aren't taking it seriously, yada, yada, yada. Right? So this is 2nd Esdras 15 to 14 through 19. It says, woe to the world and to them that dwell therein. For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another with swords in their hands. That's talking about war. And these people's destruction draweth nigh, and they don't even know because they're so proud, right? It says, for there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. It says, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. This is when, Jacob's trouble starts kicking off. A man shall desire to go into a city and not be, you're not going to be able to, right? For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, and houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. You're not afraid now, but you will be. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. And that around that time and a little bit before it, that's when that mark of the beast is going to pop out, right? It's going to be bad when Jacob's trouble pops off. People aren't going to be able to get food. All right, there's going to be war. Who knows? There might be, there might be invasions on U.S. soil at that point in time. We don't know necessarily, right? And at that point, it's going to be real bad. People aren't going to have food. Again, famines and pestilences. So people are literally going to be breaking into people's houses with the modern day sword. It says the sword, but the modern day sword is what? The gun. And you might have machetes or other weapons and knives and daggers and tools too. Axes and hammers and baseball bats, right? And they're going to spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. So they're going to go in there. Why? Because they're hungry. And they're going to kill these people for food. They're going to kill them so they can eat. That's the situation that we're coming up into. All right, and it's ultimately going to end in World War III. All right, that's what this is ultimately going to go to. And World War III, right after that, that's when Yahushua is coming back to deliver his elect and officially destroy all these people, man. So Revelation 6 and 12, all right, through 14. Let's get that one. And let's read this real quick. So I'm going to read a little bit of this. This is from AP News. It says, Putin warns that Russia could provide long-range weapons to others to strike Western targets. He said, this is St. Petersburg, Russia. It says, President Vladimir Putin warned Wednesday that Russia could provide long-range weapons to others to strike Western targets in response to NATO allowing Ukraine to use their arms to attack Russian territory. Putin also reaffirmed Moscow's readiness to use nuclear weapons if it sees a threat to its sovereignty. The recent actions by the West will further undermine international security and could lead to various serious problems, he said. And yeah, I agree. You know, think about it. You're trying to protect your country, and these other countries are trying to, give these other countries that are against you bombs. Yeah, that would be detrimental to your national security. You cannot have that. You would have to stop that. But America doesn't think like that. They always think from their position. You don't think from the Russians' position. Think if you were in Russia and you were thinking about all these people ready to bomb you, you'd be like, shit, well, I got to get ready to bomb these people. But you don't think about that. You don't think about that. You just think, oh, America's got to stop the big bad people. Superhero America's got to stop everything bad in the world. But you just make it worse, right? So you got to realize from Putin's perspective, he doesn't want his country getting invaded or bombed. So he's got to take preemptive strikes. Right? It says, he said, taking questions from international journalists, something that has become extremely rare since Moscow sent troops into Ukraine. It says that would mark their direct involvement in the war against the Russian Federation, and we reserve the right to act the same way, Putin said. Said the United States and Germany recently authorized Ukraine to hit some targets on Russian soil with long-range weapons that they are supplying to Kyiv. On Wednesday, a Western official and U.S. senator said Ukraine has used U.S. weapons to strike inside Russia under newly approved guidance from President Joe Biden that allows American arms to be used for the limited purpose of defending Kharkiv, Ukraine's second largest city. Official was not authorized to comment publicly on the sensitive matter and spoke on condition of anonymity. It says, well, this is where we're going to not close out, but stop with this article after this. It says, Putin claimed that using some Western-supplied weapons involves military personnel of those countries controlling the missiles and selecting targets. And therefore, he said, Moscow could take asymmetrical steps elsewhere in the world. The U.S. military said it does not control the missiles it provides to Ukraine or the targets. So there you go. But they're basically saying if America can do it and they're not bad, then why are we bad if we do it too? There you go. And ultimately, the ICBMs, intercontinental ballistic missiles, will fall upon the United States. All right. It says Revelation 6 and 12 through 14. This is a prophecy of that happening. It says in verse 12, and I beheld when he opened the sixth seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake. That's a ground shaking, right? The ground shaking. And the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood. All right. So boom, that goes off, that earthquake. You see the sky blackened out, right? It says verse 13, and the stars of heaven fell onto the earth. This isn't little stars, those are ICBMs. You got to realize how you would describe this back then. There wasn't nukes back then, so you'd have to say, oh, it looks like the stars are falling to earth, because that's how they look. If you look at, ICBM in sky, if you see how they look, if you saw this, look at this light. You see how this goes? You see how these things are? You would say, oh, those are stars falling to earth. Those are stars. If you saw multiple of those, right, they would look like stars falling to earth. Okay, so that's explosion in the sky. That's the deal with fireworks. But no, you gotta see, how they would look coming over like that. You would think, oh, these are stars falling to earth, right? And the stars of heaven fell into the earth, even as the fig tree casteth her untimely figs when she is shaken of a mighty wind. And the heaven departed as a scroll when it is rolled together. That's a nuclear mushroom cloud. Boom, and it's rolling out, departing as a scroll, right? And when it is rolled together, and every mountain and island were moved out of their places. And so that's prophetically what's going to happen, all right? We have, the scriptures talking about woe, 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 all right? Behold, one woe is past, two more come hereafter, right? And unfortunately, we just don't have that much time today for the lesson. I'm going to try to get it to 30 minutes, and then we're going to have to close out. So slack for that. Bad time management on my part, but I still wanted to get a lesson out. So, I'm not giving excuses. That was just bad time management. So slack for that. But I wanted to make sure I get everything out that I wanted to get out. But these Edomites, and these devils, man, these American Edomites, I should say, because the Russians are Edomites too. They don't think that, anything like that's ever going to happen, man. Right? They don't ever think anything like that's going to happen. So Habakkuk 2 and 5. There's another one actually I want to get. I shall never be in adversity. Shall never be in here it is. This is Psalms right here. Verse 3. We'll start from 3. Psalms 10 and 3. For the wicked boasteth of his heart's desire, and blesseth the covetous whom the Lord abhorreth. The wicked, through the pride of his countenance, will not seek after Yahweh. Yahweh is not in all his thoughts. His ways are always grievous. Thy judgment are far above out of his sight. As for all his enemies, He puffeth at them. Oh, you can't do nothing. What are you going to do? Right? In verse 6, he hath said in his heart, I shall not be moved, for I shall never be in adversity. Adversity is adversity, adversity, of course. Trial and tribulation and woe and misery and hardships, right? They don't think they're ever going to be that. All right, but we can get woe, woe, woe into the inhabitants of the earth. This is Revelation 8:13. It says, and I beheld an angel flying through the midst of the heaven, saying, through the midst of heaven, saying with a loud voice, woe, woe, woe to the inhabitants of the earth, by reason of the other voices of the trumpet of the three angels which are yet to sound. Okay, so woe, woe, woe. 3 great woes. All right, and you can get one woe. Woe has passed. All right, you can get that. Look, one woe is past, and behold, there come two woes more hereafter. All right. The second woe is past. The third woe cometh quickly, right? Here it is, Revelation 11:14. It says, and the second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. And of course, after that, woe, woe, woe to the inhabitants of the earth, right? 3 major woes. What is a woe? All right, a woe is a condition of deep suffering from misfortune, affliction, or grief. All right, a ruinous trouble. World War I, World War II, and ultimately World War III. So let's go back to Habakkuk 2:5. It says, yea, also, because he transgresseth by wine. This is Esau, his pride. Yea, also, because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man. Neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. And this is, again, same thing. Putin isn't free from this. All right, because he's trying to gather all nations unto him. America's trying to gather all nations. They're all Edomites, and they're all proud. Russia's proud, Putin's proud. All right, Biden's proud. All the leaders of all these countries, these Edomite nations, are proud. They're prideful. So you got a prideful person against another prideful person. This isn't like, any of these other countries that'll eventually back down because they don't want to get fucking nuked to oblivion. All right, like Germany. Germany eventually, well, they did back down eventually because they basically just got assimilated. That's all that happened. But, Japan is what I meant to say. Japan, the Arab places, they backed down a little bit because they didn't want to get fucking fried off the map. But these Edomites against Edomites, those are very terrible wars. Look at any war with Edomites against the Edomites, and it's a very strong, powerful, terrible war. World War I, World War II, they were all involved with other Edomites. Okay, of course you had other nations as well, but they were other Edomites fighting Edomites. And it's a very brutal and bloody war because they are very prideful and they don't know when to stop, man. So this is Proverbs 16:18. This is where we're going to close out. It says, pride goeth before destruction. They're proud, right? Well, Proverbs 16:18, pride goeth before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. One more time, Proverbs 16:18, pride goeth before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. So that's the lesson. Russia has now officially declared the USA as an enemy. We'll have to see where this goes. Hey man, Lord willing, we get out of here soon. With that, that's it. We're going to go ahead and close out. All right, once again, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakak. I want to give double honors to the elders and apostles at Great Millstone that taught me this truth to rule well. Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. Shalom to you brothers and sisters out there. Keep enduring, keep the faith. We're almost out of here. Until next one, Lord willing, Shalom.